in some sort of a playoff race or at least have a chance to win a Super Bowl. But my point that I'm getting at here is if Sam Darnold is kind of in a position now where Theo Epstein, and I know this is going to sound random, but Theo Epstein was in a position with the Red Sox and the Cubs to end just decades-long losing, and now is a legend in both of those places. Sam Darnold, as the quarterback of the Jets, if he can lead this franchise to a Super Bowl, he will never be forgotten in team history. And you don't get that opportunity if you're Sam Darnold if you go to a team like the Giants. Because that is where the Jets are at this point. They haven't won a title since 1969. They haven't been in a Super Bowl. And this is now, we're going on 50 years here where this franchise has been chasing that return.
Well, this is the 50th anniversary, so.
Yes, chasing it unsuccessfully, I might add. But that's where Sam Darnold is. And I don't think that all of that added pressure, I don't think is going to rattle him in any way. I think he's built for that kind of a challenge. And obviously it's more on the owners and the general managers and the coaches to put the team around him that will have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
The question with him is he going to start, game one?
No.
I don't either. So,
I think it's ridiculous if he starts. There's no reason for him to start game one.
I think McCown, what? If he plays his cards right, he could still be, playing quarterback at the end of the season, leading this team. Because I thought he was a pretty damn good quarterback last year. He wasn't a perfect quarterback, but as we saw last year with the Eagles, a guy gets injured, you're a superstar, and then another guy comes in and he says, "Oh, look, I have my opportunity." So I think that might be something to think about as we look into the Jets season.
Well, my whole thing with Josh McCown is number one, I don't have a whole lot of expectation for him to repeat what he did last season. I think what we're going to see is a repeat of Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I hope we don't, because I would like to see Sam Darnold be able to have the chance to develop and to be able to get reps in practice and to learn the position. If people forget, he is a young quarterback, Sam Darnold. He's 20 years old. All right. He was the youngest of all of the quarterbacks who came out in this draft class. So I'm not in any hurry to get him on the field. And I'm not saying you have to treat him with kid gloves and just say, oh, well, all right, we're just going to, put you in bubble wrap and not have you be exposed to any teams. If he shows in practice that he's ready to play, then by all means play him. But don't take the attitude that, well, we have to play him because of whatever factor. The other fact that nobody seems to remember as far as the Jets go is Teddy Bridgewater. This guy has played NFL games. He played a full rookie season, and then he played his second season, and that was when he tore his ACL. So he's a guy who was kind of looking to reclaim his career, and obviously would love the chance to start games. Now, if McCown gets hurt, that to me is going to be the decision. Are you going to put Bridgewater in the game, or are you going to put Sam Darnold in the game? Because right. McCown, his history shows he's going to get hurt at some point. That's just his history. It's and it's kind of the way the NFL is these days. Very few quarterbacks play 16 games. But where do the Jets go? What's their next step? What's their plan B if and when McCown gets hurt? And that's kind of what I'm curious to see this season. Now, the other point that I wanted to make about NFL quarterbacks, or where we are right now anyway, and I was talking with my boy Tampa Matt about this the other day after one of the alarm shows. You remember Tampa Matt? We went out drinking with him after the Dare to Be Different movie.
Oh, I remember him. Yes.
The big guy from Tampa.
Yeah.
So we were talking about how it's kind of cool that both the Jets and the Bills are seemingly now well positioned for life after Tom Brady and the Patriots. because the Bills obviously have addressed their quarterback issue when they traded up to pick Josh Allen, and the Jets have Sam Darnold. So they both have good young quarterbacks who are expected to lead their franchises, into the 2020s, let's say. Now, the Patriots, on the other hand, well, everybody pretty much expects Belichick to retire within a couple of years, if not sooner. And Tom Brady's 40 years old, and how much longer can he possibly have? He keeps making all this noise about he wants to play until he's 50 or 45 or whatever. I don't buy it. And even if he does, how much are the Patriots going to stay married to that idea? Do you really want a 45-year-old quarterback leading your team?
Well, depends if he's George Blanda or George Blanda occasionally led the team in Oakland because he was the kicker, but sometimes he had to go in as the backup quarterback. So
but my point being that when Belichick retires and Brady retires, the Patriots more than likely are done, or at least going to take a serious step backwards and have some regression.
And I actually think they walk out together. So
no, I don't think so. I don't think they like each other that much anymore.
Really? I thought they did.
It's kind of gotten to the point now. This is what happens with older players who think that, oh, my coach loves me and I'm his boy and this and that. They find out later in their careers that their coaches don't really care. It's all about having a good player and having somebody who the coach thinks can get the job done. And once a coach loses that faith in a quarterback, then he's not his boy anymore. And he's going to figure out a way to get the next guy in, because coaches are all about winning. And yeah, they do have favorite players. Joe Torre loved Derek Jeter and treated him, almost like a son, and they had that kind of relationship. But now it becomes an issue when the athlete wants to play longer than the coach thinks he's effective. And the athlete's mentality is never going to be, well, yeah, he's right, I can't do it anymore. Because as an athlete, you're always your DNA is programmed that you always think you can get the job done, even when the numbers show that you can't do it anymore.
Okay.
But now, like I said, the Jets have Sam Darnold, good young quarterback. The Bills have Josh Allen, who is supposed to be a good young quarterback. So these two franchises, who have been terrible for decades, let's face it, that's just the way it is, are now in a position for the next decade that the Patriots aren't even close to being at yet, because obviously when they traded Jimmy Garoppolo last year to the 49ers, they were kind of trading their quarterback of the future, but that was because Brady has said, look, I'm not retiring anytime soon. So the Patriots were kind of forced into making a decision about Garoppolo, and as it turned out, they made very much the wrong decision to trade him. Because Garoppolo now, since he went to San Francisco, he has signed a contract for over $100 million. He played in a few games at the end of last season, showed that, yes, he can get the job done on an NFL level. And people were shaking their heads when that trade was made, and they're shaking their heads even more because the prevailing attitude is, how did Bill Belichick allow himself to be put in this situation where he basically gave away a franchise quarterback?
Well, good point. Anyway, brother, before we get into soccer, I have to remind people of the Rock Overdose, which is
I love that show.
Every Tuesday at 2 p.m. You can truly never overdose on rock music, and our host Mike Sanford proves it. That's the Rock Overdose every Tuesday at 2 p.m. right here on WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. Now, brother, we are a soccer-friendly show, as we try to be.
Yes, we are.
So we have 4 minutes. Let's talk some soccer.
Well, brother, as you know, yesterday was the final day of the Premier League season. My Tottenham played probably the craziest game of the season yesterday in the final game when they beat Leicester 5-4.
Okay.
And it was one of the players described it as being like a basketball game because it was up and down, end to end, and as many goals as were scored, there probably could have been about 5 or 6 more. That's how crazy the game was. But your man Harry Kane got a couple of goals,
all right.
including what proved to be the game winner. and that gave him 30 goals on the season. That's a career high. So Tottenham beat Leicester 5-4, and with that win clinched third place, which is actually a pretty remarkable achievement considering they played all of their games all of their home games at Wembley this season, which essentially meant that they played 38 road games this season. So
right, next season their new arena or new stadium opens, right?
Yeah,
next season?
It's being built as we speak. Hopefully as we're speaking, there's somebody over in London turning a wrench and installing some seats right now. But that aspect of Tottenham will officially be quote unquote home next season, even though now they're going to be breaking in another new arena and learning how that one plays. But third place is pretty impressive given the circumstances of this season and how most of the pundits predicted that they would finish anywhere from 5th to 7th or 8th.
Okay.
People thought this Wembley curse nonsense that was the big talk of the
Now, what do they get out of
season.
being third place? Anything?
They get to be in the Champions League again next season and this is the third straight season for that, which Tottenham has never done before. So it further cements their reality as one of the big clubs in Europe, and this is a status that they have been fighting and scratching and clawing to get to. Now, the other thing that you have to know about what's going on at Tottenham is that the manager, Mauricio Pochettino, is going to have a sit-down with Daniel Levy, who is the president of the club, sometime next week to kind of map out what they see as the future of the club. Now, that future pretty much needs to improve or needs to include more spending. And this is when we're going to find out what is going to happen with Tottenham. Because with the new stadium, they've increased capacity by approximately, I want to say, 27,000. So the new stadium is going to hold 62,000 people. It's the biggest stadium in London.
Wow.
So with all of that additional revenue that will be generated, most people or most observers anyway, and especially the fans, think that the club needs to scrap its wage system that they have in place now and spend much more liberally and much, more along the lines of clubs like Manchester City and Chelsea and Manchester United and even Liverpool, and not allow transfer fees to be such a burden, and especially salaries, because that's been a problem before in signing some of the bigger players in the world, is that those players don't fit into Tottenham's quote-unquote wage structure,
right,
which has been very restrictive. So, we'll see what happens there. Your Liverpool clinched fourth place yesterday, so that puts them in the Champions League. And I know your boy, Mohamed Salah, actually wound up getting one goal yesterday, so that clinched the Golden Boot for him.
Okay.
He wound up actually scoring a record-setting 32 goals in 38 matches this season.
Okay, we have to cut you off, brother.
All right.
The show is now
done?
over. Yes, the
right.
Big Ed is here. He's carrying a baseball bat. He's saying, "Get out of here, guys! Get out of here!"
Did he go to Didi Gregorius' bat day the other day at the
No,
stadium?
he didn't. He's Big Ed's a Met fan. Don't you know that?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was bat day.
Big Ed loves the Mets. He says, "Mets all the way, baby."
Uh-huh.
Is that true, Ed?
Sure.
Yes, he says sure. Why not? Anyway, another good show, brother. We'll see you next Monday. You'll be back live in the studio with us.
Yes.
And in 2 weeks, we celebrate our 4th anniversary. We'll see what we do for any special guests. We're working on that right now. Coming up next at 10 o'clock, we have Big Ed with the Good Gold Show. And by the way, if you'd like to win 2 tickets to see the Long Island Ducks take on the Somerset Patriots on Sunday, May 27th at 1:35 p.m., please give us a call at 516-572-7440. The Long Island Ducks bring you Atlantic League baseball all summer long at the Bethpage Ballpark in Central Islip. For more information about their schedule, tickets, and more, it can be found by visiting the liducks.com website. So call in during that show. We'll take care, and we'll see you. Bye-bye.
The views expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Oh, I love that.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just on Facebook.
What are you liking?
I don't even know. I'm just mindlessly hitting like because, well, I just don't know.